the Christian Channel. My name is Claire McCallan, and today's guest is Scott Baio, who is here to talk about the new God's Not Dead, In God We Trust, the fifth God's Not Dead film. Scott, welcome.
Thank you, Claire. Good to be with you.
Well, it's great to have you here, too. I just watched the film earlier today. It's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you tell our audience a little bit about the premise of this film and how it's a little bit different than the previous God's Not Dead films?
It's a Mr. Smith Goes to Washington story. The incumbent congressman dies, and there's a guy running for the seat, and he's a politician who wants to take God out of everything. And David A.R. White, who plays Pastor Dave, is kind of talked into it. He hears a calling, and he decides to run for Congress. And that's basically the story, and it's all the ups and downs of that and the inner workings of it. And it's quite a good movie with a very good message.
Yeah, and it comes in such a timely way here on an election year, at a time where a lot of us Christians are being told separation of church and state, keep your faith out of politics, all of these things. What does it mean to you to have this film released in 2024 of all times?
In talking to David A.R., the films that he makes, these God's Not Dead films, always, for some reason or another, are always timely. And it's not that they're planned. They just, God is steering him, or luck, which I don't think anybody can be that lucky. And what was the question, Claire? What did you ask me exactly?
Absolutely. I mean, it's showing up, this film, in 2024 at a time.
Oh, yes. It just so happened that this story was the perfect time for this time and place. And in doing this film, we learned that there are 40 million Christians that don't vote.
Wow.
And yeah, wow. And we don't know why. We don't know whether they think politics is an ugly business or a dirty business, but their country is being slowly pulled away from them. And unless they do something about it, it's going to be gone. And the land will be here, but the country that we all grew up in will be totally different. And I am fighting as little as I can, do as little as I can for my country, because I'd hate to see that happen. I do this stuff for my daughter. I mean, I grew up in America, and I don't feel like I live in America anymore. And it bothers me. So when David offered me this and there was a way for me to help and get involved, I was like, absolutely.
Have you always had this passion for your country and for your faith, or have these been reversions in recent years?
I've always loved my country, but I didn't think what's happening to my country could happen. And it's happening, and it's happening in real time. And so, I was raised a Catholic, was baptized a couple of years ago, but I got off the path for a while. I didn't do anything bad. I wasn't a bad guy by and I lived a clean life. And then when I had my daughter, started getting back on the path again, and realized that I want her to grow up in the country that I grew up in. And it's going to be a fight, because a lot of people don't want that. And I don't know why.
Your daughter must be pretty proud of you. Does she watch your projects?
Yeah, she comes down and watches, and yeah, she gets a kick out of it. It's just sort of, you try to teach your children, but it's hard to make anybody understand how you grew up or how I grew up. I can tell you till I'm blue in the face, but you'll never get it. You know what I mean? She'll never get it. I tell her, listen, when I was, there wasn't this. There was nothing. There was 3 channels. There was, and there are things that you try to explain, and they'll never get it. And it's unfortunate, because I want my country to be safe. I want to be safe. and we're not.
Yeah. Amen. You mentioned, 40, that's a crazy statistic, 40
I
million
know,
believers
I
not
know.
voting every year. Are there other steps that believers can take who I think are going to be really moved by this film? Because one of the beautiful things the film does is it shows you the ways that these laws that can seem so abstract actually have a real impact on your community. There's a very moving, important scene at the beginning where the pastor realizes that his women's shelter is being
Yeah,
defunded
yeah,
because they had a Bible study, and that makes it no longer a
right.
secular space. And therefore, and I hear so many of these stories in my personal life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how can these people who are thinking, I'm just some guy, I'm just in a small community, how can they rise up? They can go see this film because it's important when they support projects like this because it gives momentum to future projects. They can vote. How else can people, I guess, do what you're asking them to do
I
and
just,
get more involved in America?
Claire, just be aware.
Mm-hmm.
Just be aware of what's happening. People don't even want to watch the news because it's so damn depressing. Just you have to watch. You have to look. Information is king. If you don't have information, you might as well go live in a hole. So if you don't like the information that's being pumped into your living room, well, then do something about it. You can vote these people out whom you don't like on both sides, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can get the country back to the way you want it instead of complaining. Do something about it. To do something. And all you can vote from you can vote by mail.
Yeah.
There's a QR code at the end of the movie. You can register to vote through the movie.
Wow.
It's nothing. There's nothing you really need to do. You just go vote. It's easy. Or just mail in your vote. If you look, if you, I don't, God, I hate sounding like this. I hate sounding like this. But if you love your country and you want you love your children and you want your country to be God-fearing and prosperous and powerful and safe, do something about it. I could stay at home all day long with a gun in my living room if I want to. I could drive around with a gun if I want to. I live in Florida. I can keep a gun in my pocket here, and sometimes I do. But why do I have to live like that? Why?
Yeah, it is incredible the timing of the film, and that's amazing that you have the QR code at the end, and you're empowering all believers, maybe even some who might not believe exactly the same things that you do, but you're empowering Americans to take hold of the country. The timing, not only is it crazy because of the election year, but also Reagan was just released in theaters a couple days ago on August 30th. And the fact that both of these films came out in 2024, I don't know if you've heard, but this Reagan film, it's doing really well. It's number 3 in the country right now. It's just behind Deadpool and It Ends With Us.
Listen, I love Dennis Quaid. I'm glad it's doing great.
Yeah.
Reagan was the first time I ever went and campaigned for somebody.
That's awesome. It's cool to see people in films such as yourself take your own advice, not just in voting and community activism, but also in the projects you choose, because you could be making anything. You've had quite the career, very illustrious. You could be making anything, but you're choosing to put your money and time and talents where your mouth is. So I really salute you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So when can people see the film and how can they see it?
Go to the movie theaters, September 12th. God's Not Dead, In God We Trust. Go, take your family, take your friends, for 2 reasons. 3 reasons. 1, it's a really good movie. 2, it's got a good message. And 3, by making this film successful at the box office and the Reagan film successful at the box office, you send a strong message that, hey, we're not going away and we're ready. We're here to fight. We're here to take it on, meet you head on, and show you that there's a place for this and that this country is not going to give up that easily.
Yeah, amen. Scott, thank you so much for your time. September 12th, God's Not Dead, In God We Trust, in a theater near you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Claire.